In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the best rod progression guide for Fisch. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please subscribe as I really appreciate it. And with that out the way, let's get straight to the video. Before we get to the video, I just wanted to stop and say we're doing a giveaway for 6,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe. The giveaway is for any Game Pass of the player's choice from the Game Passes section in the shop. So from Sell Anywhere, Bomber Pack, Double XP, Appraiser's Luck, Supporter, Emote Pack, Appraise Anywhere, Spawn Boat Anywhere, and Enchant Anywhere. If you want a chance to win any of those, all you have to do to enter is be subscribed and join the Discord link in the description down below, and that's literally it. But with that out the way, let's get straight to the video. So the first thing you need to know is we're going to be going through all 12 stages of the rods in this game. So every single stage starting from 1 all the way up to 12. So starting at Moosewood, this will be the stage 1 rod. For the stage 1 rod, you're going to want to head up to the merchant at Moosewood Village, and once you get up here, you're going to go to this rod right here, the Lucky Rod. The Lucky Rod is honestly the best one here. There's no point in getting the carbon one. It's way better to just get the lucky one, so that way you can pull up some decently rare fish. Because if I quickly pull up these stats on this rod, as you can see here, the Lucky Rod will give you 20% lure speed, 177% luck, a 0.07 control, 7% resilience, and 175 AG, which is honestly all you need starting out. Another thing with this rod is only 4,000 credits, so you can get it off start, especially if you go ahead once you first load into the game. If you are brand new, scroll all the way down in this little menu up here, and once you get all the way down to the bottom, there should be an option under the codes to like and join their group, and you will be able to claim a reward which will give you 1,000 credits, which is all you really need. I believe it's 1,000 or maybe even 2,000. I'm not too sure, but I know it's a lot and enough to get you this rod off start, and you won't even have to fish really. But moving on to the next rod, what I would recommend you do from here is go over to this little spot right here, right next to this guy who's fishing in the water towards this mini island, and go ahead and grab this. And there's a reason I'm saying grab this, especially if you're a new player. But for the stage 2 rod, you're going to have to head over to the Roselit Bay area right over here. And once you make it to Roselit Bay, what you're going to do is head over towards the merchant on the left side of the island, so the opposite side of the lighthouse. And once you get up over here, you're just going to look in the direction of the merchant. It will take you to this blacksmith. Actually, if you go right in the path of where he's looking, it'll take you exactly to the rod which we are going to be obtaining, which is the fortune rod, which as you can see, it's only 11,000 credits. And the reason I told you to grab that is because you're going to head back here to this claim spot. But while going back there, when you're walking up towards the right, you should see this white and black crate. Go ahead and grab that for yourself, and that will give you 20 levels on its own. So that's just if you're a new player, that's just a bonus thing. It doesn't help you get this rod at all. So yeah, let's quickly cover the stats on this rod. With the fortune rod, you get 30% lure speed, 200% luck, 0.05 control, 10% resilience, and a max kg of 3,000 kg, which is honestly super duper broken considering you get a lot of luck, some okay resilience, and the control's honestly not that bad. I mean, considering it's 11,000, it's definitely worth it, especially out of these two rods. Both of those rods are absolutely horrible. But moving on, for this next rod, it is going to be pretty pricey, so you're going to have to fish until you get a little over, I would say probably get around 100k, because you're probably going to need that much. But for this one, we're going to have to head over to the Desolate Deep. If you don't know where the Desolate Deep is, go in between the statue and Sunstone towards the northeast direction, and if you put your camera in the water, it's way easier to see. But you'll see this little area down here with a whole bunch of coral and this little buoy above it with a advanced diving gear in it. You're gonna have to purchase that for yourself to be able to go down here, so go ahead and purchase that and swim on down. And once you get down here, you're just going to stick to the right towards the sea mines. Just make sure you don't run into them because they will kill you. And then you're going to meet this little split right here where this little round bit is. You're going to go to the left, and when you go to the left, you should see that you enter the Desolate Deep. And once inside the Desolate Deep, what you're going to do is come up here and get yourself a glider. If you don't already own one, you can purchase it right here. And then you're just going to use a zip line from here, and then you're just going to kind of do some parkour with your glider to get up onto this other area up here. I'm not going to be able to make it with this one, but that's fine because I have a gravity coil. This little spot is right above the phantom rays, so if you see this little fishing zone, just go right above it. It's literally right here. You're going to go inside of this little area, and then once you make it up into the Desolate Brine pool, what you're going to do is you're going to make this little jump right here over to this little section right here. So once you're on this section, what you're going to do is just follow me. Also, one thing you need to know in this area is you need to watch out for these little geysers because they will hit you and throw you into the water down there. So make sure you try to avoid them as best as you can. Then what you're going to do is go above that little geyser right there, and then you're going to get up exactly where I'm standing pretty much, and you're just going to jump and glide all the way over to this little section right up here, right where I am standing, or about to be standing, right where I'm standing now. You're going to glide right over here. It is towards the front, and then you will see this rod up here, which is called the Brine infused rod. This rod is pretty expensive. It is 75,000 credits. However, this rod is absolutely broken. As you can see here, this rod gives you 40% lure speed, 50% luck, 0 control, which doesn't really matter because you get 350% resilience and a max kg of 650,000. You get a +1 disturbance and a hump focus for the Brine Storm. Just a, by the way, the Brine Storm, you have to have it as a rain weather in your server, so it can't be foggy, it can't be clear, it can't be stormy. I don't think stormy will work anywhere. It has to be rain for the Brine Storm to spawn in, and you have to fish in here, and it only lasts for like 2 minutes, just really annoying. However, there is one hidden stat behind this rod, and it is that this rod has a mutation behind it, which I didn't know for the longest time, but it is a 50% chance for the Brine mutation, which is a 3.5x multiplier. So any fish you catch, amount of money the fish is worth will be multiplied by 3.5, which is actually insane, especially starting out with a early game rod. And they did actually increase the price of this rod. It was 15k and now they've increased it to 75. But moving on to the next rod, and for this one, it's going to be one that I kind of have to explain, and I can't really show you or else it's going to take me a lot of time. But for this rod, it is going to be the Mythical rod. The Mythical rod is only obtainable through the Traveling Merchant, and it is going to cost you 90,000 credits. However, it is extremely worth it. Like, if I just pull up these stats on this rod, you can see this thing is actually pretty good. It is a downgrade from the last rod a slight little bit, but the mutation from this one is so much better than the Brine one, and that's just why I'd recommend this. With all of these, I would highly recommend fishing at Forsaken Shores during an Aurora, because if you fish during that, you have a chance to get the secret fish, which sells for around 20k on average as its base price. But with this rod, you get 40% lure speed, 60% luck, a 0.05 control, 15% resilience, and a max kg of 2,500, which is actually all you need. I'm be honest, at this point in time, there's no point of getting crazy rods. You're not going to go catch a megalodon or a bluefish or anything like that off the bat. You kind of have to work your way up to it. That's the only way I can explain it. But like I said, that's the only way you can obtain this, which is through the Traveling Merchant, and it'll pop up a message just like it did in my server. Mine is currently a Roselit Bay, and it's not 100% guaranteed that it'll be there every single time. It might take you a bit, so if you don't want to grind for this one, that's completely fine. Just fish with the Brine one, and then you can move on to this next one, which we're going to be moving on to. And for this next one, this is going to be annoying. I'm going to tell you that now. For this one, I'd rather not even travel down there. I'll quickly show you. Actually, I kind of have to. I'll quickly show you how to get this, I guess. It's so annoying. I actually hate this area so much, but the rod here is just too good to not put on the list. And this is honestly the next one I'm going for in my Noob to Pro series. I'm not kidding. So what you're going to do is head over to the Lost Jungle, and once you make it to the Lost Jungle, you're just going to go up the little path right there, come all the way over towards these merchants, and you'll see this little archway right here. You're going to go through the archway, through the waterfall, into this little tunnel right here, and over to the left. This rod is going to be pretty pricey, and it's a crafting rod, so you're going to have the crafting area unlocked. Another thing, this rod is going to require you level 300, so this is a pretty mid-game rod, or after an AA has happened, I would recommend going for this rod, because this is honestly probably one of the better ones you're going to get. So what you're going to need is you're going to need yourself a gas mask like I have equipped. You're just going to go down into this little tunnel right here. The gas mask is 75,000 credits if you did not see. You're just going to go down all the way into the Toxic Grove. Once you make it in the Toxic Grove, what you're going to do is head all the way to the back left. Once you go to the back left, you'll see a little ship right here. You're going to have to complete this Olivia person's quest. She's going to reward you with a toxic proof raft. You're going to need that for this rod. And just to save myself some time, I'm going to put my magic mirror here, my mystic mirror. I almost teleported into the keeper's altar. Forgot I can't spawn that boat. And there we go. So now I spawned my toxic proof raft in, and now we're just going to head over across this water. I don't know if there's other requirements to get over here. I'm not too sure. When this update came out, we took everything one step at a time by completing that area, and then completing this area, and later completing the other areas. So what you're going to do is just head over to the living garden, which is where we are now. And once you get over here, you can now see that you have it at the top of your screen. It should appear, but once you appear, you will unlock the crafting recipe for the Garden Keeper rod. For the Garden Keeper rod, you are going to have to do some stuff down in this area, so don't leave here yet. What you're going to do is just go around and collect all these little flowers like this one. This is what they look like. Each of them look the exact same. So just go around and collect all those, and I'll tell you the things you need from them. As you can see, you're going to need some of these seeds. For the Garden Keeper rod, you're going to need 320,000 credits alongside level 300. And once you have those two things met, you're going to need to come down here and collect these things immediately to even be able to get this rod. You're going to need the violet lotus, the cyan lotus, and the canary lotus, and 10 oversized leaves, which as you can see here, there is a fishing spot for, and it's trash. So all you gotta do is put on some unlucky bait like garbage and fish here, and you should get it pretty quickly. And for planting the seeds to get the lotuses, you just plant them in this little zone right over there, and that's literally it. But now we can go over the stats on this rod. So the Garden Keeper rod has a 95% lure speed, 50% luck, a 0.25 control, which is extremely good, 45% resilience, which is pretty good, and a max kg of 30,000. This rod also has a secret passive behind it for a mutation. It is a 25% chance to get the floral mutation, which is an 8.5x multiplier, or sorry, 8.4x, which is absolutely insane. Even though it's not 8.5, it's 8.4. That's actually insane. And considering the rod's actually not even bad, I mean, it's actually kind of crazy that this is only, what stage are we on? Stage 5? That's only stage 5. That's actually insane. But don't worry, if you couldn't get this rod, that's perfectly fine. There is a rod coming up right now that you can go ahead and get yourself. Honestly, you should be able to get yourself by the time you're at this point. Especially, I definitely would not like to spawn my toxic proof rafting because that thing is so slow. For this one, you're going to have to head over to the Lost Jungle, which you've already been to, so there's no real point of me heading over here. I guess I can explain a few things while I'm over here because it is a little bit complicated. So for this one, what you're going to do is you're going to head up this little bridge right here towards the right side of the island, so not the left this time, and then you'll see this little hole in the ground, and what you're going to do is go over to the vine that leads down, or the little rope right here, and just go ahead and go down this rope. And once you go down this rope, you will enter the Forgotten Temple. Once inside here, you have to go through each of these little X's are a room. So what you have to do is go through each of these rooms and complete their things, because you're going to need some stuff from them. So for this rod, you're going to need yourself 170,000 credits, level 90, and 1 poison driftwood, 1 toxic core, and 1 murky thread. And just so you know, poison is a 0.123% base chance through appraising, so it's pretty rare to get. Honestly, like I said, it is a 0.123, which is insane, but all you have to do is really just keep appraising a piece of driftwood until you get it, and that's really it. The way you get the murky thread and the toxic core is from completing these little rooms down here, so go ahead and complete all these through here. A little tip for, I believe it's this one, I think it's this one, it's like a little maze one. For that one, what I would recommend doing is just going in first person and looking up and aligning these little 2 dots from your level. It should be from your level right above your head. I have my nameplate off so you can't see, but there should be 2 little dots. You're going to align that with the ceiling because you have to follow the ceiling because the flooring is invisible on it, so it's really weird. But moving on to the next rod, for the tier 7 rod, we're actually going to have to head back down into the living garden, which is why I set my mystic mirror down there. So now that you're back in the living garden, what you're going to need to do is, while you were opening up a lot of those flowers, you probably realized that you spawned something in, or you might have spawned something in, called the flower guardian. You're going to need to catch that flower guardian for this rod, so go ahead and catch that for yourself. Another thing, this rod is absolutely insanely expensive. It is 1,250,000, so it's extremely expensive, but it is extremely worth it at the same time. And actually, I completely forgot to show you guys the Toxic Spire rod. That is completely my fault. But here you go. Here are the stats on the Toxic Spire rod. For the Toxic Spire rod, it gives you 87% lure speed, 248% luck, 0.3 control, which is basically your full bar, minus 20% resilience, which kind of sucks, but again, it's basically your full bar, so it doesn't matter. 100,000 max kg, 20% progress speed, and plus 2 disturbance, which can help you spawn in some hunts if you ever really need them. I don't think you will. But like I was saying, for this rod, you are going to need yourself 1,250,000, so go ahead and collect yourself that, and go ahead and try to fish up the flower guardian from this area. And once you get that, you can come back to the video. Once you get the flower guardian, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to come over here with a seed, plant the seed down, and hold out the flower guardian. And once the flower guardian is held out, it would then pop up a rod from the middle of the ground right here. It is called the Bloomspire rod. It is this one right here. However, as you could see on mine, there are a ton of different modes for this thing, almost like there is for the Lullaby rod. If I quickly search that, this is the most recent rod that I can kind of figure to kind of match this. As you can see, there's all the different modes on it, which is kind of the same system for this one. Each one does their own different unique abilities. And for this one, it is going to be a pretty difficult seed you're going to need to get for this mode for this rod. So I'm going to quickly explain it. You're going to have to go all the way around, again, collecting these flowers, getting seeds. You might have gotten one earlier while trying to get these stuff for the other rod. And if you did, you're extremely lucky, but you're going to need yourself the living seed. Once you have the living seed, go ahead and plant it and get the lotus off of it. And once you get the lotus, you're going to hold out your rod. So you're going to equip it, and once you equip it, you're just going to click on the lotus with it out in your hand. You're just going to hold it and click, and once you click it, it will give you this mode, which I'm going to quickly explain everything behind it. It's not that one, it's the green one, sorry, but this one is actually insane. So quickly going over the stats, you get 95% lure speed, 200% luck, 0.2 control, 20% resilience, 1 million max kg, which is really insane, but there are some hidden stats behind this rod. With this rod, you have a 50% chance for the Vitalic mutation, which is an 8 times multiplier. An 8 times multiplier. That is actually insane. It also will give you plus 25% fish weight and a 10% chance to stab every 2 seconds for plus 1.5% progress. Chances are increased by 1% every 1 second, every 1 second, plus 1 stab every time a stab is triggered. So if you stab once, the next time it stabs, it will stab twice. The next time it stabs, it will stab 3. It keeps going up by 1 every time it stabs, which is actually insane because this will allow you to catch fish extremely fast, and considering it's a 50% chance for an 8x, it's way better than the garden keeper rod that was only a 25, I believe, for an 8.4. So it's a little bit of a nerf, but also a buff at the same time because you do get that extra stuff with it. Moving on to the next rod, we are going to have to head into the underground music venue. I'm going to quickly explain how to get into the underground music venue. You're going to need to go into the Crystal Cove, and you're going to need yourself a chaotic enchant relic. The chaotic enchant relic you can get from the chaotic mutation, which I can't remember what relic it's from. If you look in the comment section, there should be some people saying what it's from, but if we quickly go up here, as you can see at this black and white stone, you're going to need to put your enchant relic in, and once you put the enchant relic in, if you go over here, make sure you don't fall in the water, by the way, you will die, but once you go over here, you will see that this little trapdoor has now opened, so you're going to drop one down, and you're going to go over to this lady on the stage. For this rod, you are going to need to be at level 424, so go ahead and get that for yourself, and once you get that, you can come back, or if you don't want this rod, you can skip to the next part. But as you can see here, this is the mysterious Songstress. You're going to talk to her, do her quest line, and she'll give you the opinions on your rod. I'm not going to explain all the secret passes behind this rod. I'm going to explain the basic information behind it because a lot of this stuff gets really complicated really fast. So as you can see here, the rod has 142% lure speed, 242% luck, 0 control, 4.2 resilience, infinite kg, and a hunt focus for plus 15 for the wyvern, which is actually insane because the wyvern actually does sell for a pretty good amount of money, I'm not gonna lie. But for the secret stats on this rod, there is a 42% chance to get the harmonized mutation, which is a 4.2x multiplier. You also have a plus 14.2% chance for shiny, which is a 1.85x multiplier, and perfect catches with this rod grant 2.42x XP, so 2.42 times XP. There's a 10% chance initial progress at the start of the minigame, or well, you get plus 10% initial progress at the start of the minigame, never mind. And there's a whole bunch of other stats. I'm not going to go through them, but they're really complicated. This rod is super complicated to use, but it is just such a good rod for leveling up super fast. I just had to put it in here. Moving on to the next rod, it is going to be one that I actually despise this place where it's at, but we have to head there, unfortunately. And if you've watched any of my other rod progression guides, you know I hate this place too. Yep, that's right, everybody. It's time for Tidefall. I can't stand this place. Moving on to Tidefall, though, we have to go over here, and it is going to cost you a pretty penny to get this rod. It is the Tide Mourner rod. For the Tide Mourner rod, it is going to cost you 1.2 million in level 200 and some other stuff on top of it, which you're probably not going to be willing to get because this rod is super busted for what it is, but also like an annoying rod to get early on. I guess this is considered early on to me. For this one, you are going to need a few things. This is a crafting rod. Yet again, you're going to have to unlock the crafting area at Ancient Isle, like I've said before. I think I've said before anyway. But for this, you're going to need the Tide Mourner head, which is going to cost you 750,000, which isn't even a part of that money that I said you're going to need. It's not even a part of the 1.2 million. I'm so sorry. But once you get down here, you're going to go ahead and purchase that for yourself, and you're going to need some other stuff while you're down here, I believe. So to craft this, you're going to need 3 Tide Essence, 5 Iron Chunks, which you get from the Mineshaft area. If you don't know how to get there, look up a video on it. You're going to need the Tide Mourner head, which is right here in Tidefall, and you're going to need yourself a Mourned Moonstones. More Moonstones you can get from your aquarium. I probably have a few in here already. Let me quickly check. I've been AFKing this like crazy, so let me see. From all that, we definitely didn't get it, but I did not expect it to do that. That's new. It usually just pops up the main stuff you get and then nothing else. But anyway, you can get Moonstones from that, and Mourned is a pretty rare mutation to actually roll for because you get it from the Tide Mourner rod, but it is a 0.025% base chance through appraising. But what I would recommend doing is appraising it down here in Tidefall at this little drowned appraiser, because he will actually give you better chances at getting stuff from appraising. Hard to believe, but apparently it's true. And now we can quickly go over the stats of the Tide Mourner rod. This thing is actually absolutely disgusting. So the Tide Mourner rod gives you 50% lure speed, 250% luck, 0.4 control, which is actually insane. That's the whole bar. 0 resilience, infinite KG, a +2 disturbance, and a hunt focus for the Pliosaur. And it has some secret stats behind it. So with this rod, you have a chance to get a mutation called Mourned at a 35% chance. It is a 7.5x multiplier. And with this rod, the higher the cast power, the higher the initial progress. So if you get a perfect cast with this, you'll start a little bit up on your progress bar, which is pretty good. Perfect casts have a 50% chance to stun the fish for 5 seconds. If the fish stays on the fishing bar for 5 seconds, a hammer will slam the fish, stuns for 2 seconds, plus 8% progress, goes on a 3-second cooldown. So once it stuns, it goes on a 3-second cooldown and then can stun again, which is absolutely broken. I'm not going to lie. This is probably one of the more broken rods that I've seen people use in this game, but nowhere near the top 5. I'll say the top 5 is actually insane for this list. This isn't only going off of stats and multipliers. This is going off of ease of access, which I know I just said Tide Mourner and it's pretty hard to get, but considering that you're at this point, you could realistically try to get some rod sets to trade for it realistically if you really wanted it that badly, or you could just skip over it to go to this next one, which we're actually going to have to head back down into the living garden for the 3rd time, and this is the final time, thank God. But for this one, you're going to need to complete the bestiary in the living garden and the toxic grove and this other area over here, which I have not shown you guys. And this is also where you get the rod at as well, where you're going to head to the west side of the place, the northwest westish side of it, towards the nectar koi right here. You're going to need to get a few of these flowers though, so that way you have the nectar buff or the pollinated buff, whatever it is. Once you get that, you're going to enter the spot called the Verdant pocket, and as you can see, the Verdant oath is right here, and it is going to cost you a pretty penny. As you could tell, it is 12,500,000, and it is going to need to you're going to need to have level 1000 for this rod, is what I meant to say. I messed that up. And you're going to need to complete the bestiary in the nectar den. So good luck here, because you have to spawn the thing called the queen bee serpent, and she does not like to spawn ever. One thing I would recommend doing once down here though is either one, getting the pollinated buff for probably 20 minutes, because that's probably how long it's going to take you, or you can get the sweet stinger rod right over there. As you can see, it's up here on this little honeycomb in the corner. But once you complete the bestiaries in those 3 areas, you can then come back into this area and buy yourself the Verdant Oath rod for 12,500,000, and this thing is actually insane. Before we show the stats, I just want to say some honorable mentions from earlier I should have said in this video, but I couldn't put them on the list because of people complaining last time, so I'm going off of what I would rather get in this game and what is easiest to me. But this is an extreme late game rod, I'll say. But the greatest rods that are beside this one that I should have said earlier in the video are Ruinous Oath and Luminescent Oath. Both of those are extremely good, and they have their own multipliers of, I believe, a 10 times multiplier, or maybe a 9. I can't remember exactly, but they're super good. But moving on to the stats of this rod, the Verdant Oath has 95% lure speed, 300% luck, a locked 0.1 control, so you cannot increase that at all, and there's a reason behind it because of the passive behind this. 75% resilience, infinite KG, and plus 50% progress speed, which is extremely busted. And let me quickly explain to you the hidden stats behind this rod, because there are some pretty broken ones. So the passives behind this rod is you have a plus 35% progress speed, plus 15% force progress speed, 40% chance for blossomed, which is a 4.6x mutation, and a 100% chance for Verdant 9.2x if the fish is perfectly caught, a 20% chance to grant 60% progress at the start of the minigame. And that's as far as I'm going to go on the stats, because they get super confusing and are really long to read, and I'm not going to read all that, but I am going to quickly explain how this rod works. So with the Verdant Oath, when you cast with this thing, as you can see, there's 2 pieces of wood on each side, and they split into 2. Your goal is to stay in the middle, and if you stay in the middle, the control bar will grow on this thing. As you can see here, it's slightly growing. It's kind of hard to tell, but it does grow. And if you hit the edges of the bar, I believe it will not count it as a perfect catch, even if you go back into the middle. As you can see there, I was correct. It does not count it as a perfect catch. So you have to stay in the middle and try to avoid these 2 edges on the left and right side. And once you do that correctly, you will be rewarded with the Verdant mutation, which, like I said, is a 9.2 times multiplier, which is absolutely broken. For the next rod, I'm not going to explain how to get this. I'm going to quickly show this rod and explain the stuff behind it. So give me 1 second. Believe me when I say I'm not showing this thing, because this thing was so annoying to get and I have too much trauma from this place. But it is the Olympian godbreaker, which you get from Atlantis. You have to complete every single one of the new Atlantis areas, or the newer Atlantis areas, I guess. And once you do all that, you're then going to not only have to do that, you're going to have to purchase every rod, which is going to cost you over 100 million. And I believe that's without including the Olympian godbreaker. I'm not too sure though. That's going off of the knowledge my friend has given me. But with this rod, it has a ton of different passives. I mean, we're going to quickly cover these stats, and I'm going to just mention a passive on it because it is absolutely broken. But this rod has a 98.1% lure speed, 265% luck, a 0.18 control, which is actually pretty good, a 19.81% resilience. I don't know why there's such like random numbers. I don't know what it is with 8-1, infinite kg, a plus 35% progress speed, and a plus 3 disturbance, which is pretty good. But this rod is super duper broken because there is two passives on it that I'm going to explain. Actually, you have a meteor shower one, which hits your bar and basically stabs the fish for all of its progress instantly. I'm not kidding, it is so broken. The other one is the black hole, which will grant you up to 2 to 5 extra fish. You do have to perfect catch with the rod in order for that to happen though, and this rod is going to cost you 50 million credits on its own. So this is a pretty expensive rod, and this is one that I would recommend skipping, but it is the most broken rod for admin abuses, so yeah, that's why it's on the list. Moving on to the next one, this is one that I never even thought I would put on a list ever, especially after obtaining it and seeing what you needed for the final part of this quest, which was so fun. Hey, we have to head back down into the underground music venue, and once you make it into the underground music venue, I can't even remember who you have to talk to. I believe it's the guide. Yeah, it is the guide, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. I remember now. It's this guy, unfortunately. But you have to talk to the guide, and he will give you a quest and give you something along the lines of, I believe it's, oh, for this rod, I forgot to mention, I almost forgot this completely. I keep forgetting this. For this rod, it is the Castbound rod, and it is going to require level 1000 for this rod, so it is pretty annoying. However, there's a rod coming up that you could realistically grind for if you really want it, but good luck. Anyway, we'll talk more on that in a second. The Castbound rod, you are going to need to perfect catch 10 shiny flying fish. To do this, I would recommend going to above the clouds where you had to fish for Opinions Aria at. I'd recommend going up there because that is the highest chance of getting flying fish out of anywhere else in the ocean. But moving on, once you get the rod, you have to perfect catch 150 fish with Castbound and Shimmer, which if you don't know where Shimmer is, it is inside the Vertigo. It is that little tunnel that you go into once you go through the strange whirlpool. It'll be behind a crystal. Just look around the crystals and you'll eventually find it. It's glowing a little bit different than the others, or a different color than the others. I can't remember. And once you get that, you would then be rewarded with your last quest, which you're not ready to hear this, but here we go. For this last quest, you're going to need to own a few rods. I shouldn't say a few. You're going to need to own a lot of rods. You're going to need to own Flimsy Rod, Carbon Rod, Steady Rod, Arctic Rod, Mythical Rod, Trident Rod, Rod of the Depths, Rod of the Forgotten Fang, Heaven's Rod, Tempest Rod, Zeus Rod, Ethereal Prism Rod, Free Spirit Rod, and Great Rod of Oscar, and Ruinous Oath. Once you own all of those, you can finally unlock Castbound for yourself, and if I quickly look up the stats on Castbound, you will see why I recommend this thing, because it is stupid, to say the least. Castbound will give you infinite lure speed, 390% luck, a 0.14 control, 32% resilience, and infinite kg, which is absolutely broken. Now that I think about it, I forgot to mention the mutations on the Olympian godbreaker. I completely forgot about this, but the mutations are a 30% chance for both Cragged and Gravitas, which Cragged is a 7 times and Gravitas is a 9.81. But going back to Castbound, there are some other hidden stats behind this thing as well, because it is absolutely broken. So with Castbound, you get plus 15% XP from all fish, no matter what it is, no matter perfect catch, perfect cast, low cast, not perfect catch, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Just every fish is absolutely broken. Every catch, you have a 50% chance to gain another fish mutated with one of these 4 mutations. You have Cosmos, which is a 10.85x mutation, Nebula, which is a 9.2x mutation, Energy, which is a 8.5x mutation, and Fury, which is an 11.7x mutation. I believe the second or third highest in the game, which is actually insane. Like I said, this thing is absolutely broken, so I'm going to quickly show the stats on this thing because it is absolutely insane. So if we quickly equip this bad boy, as you can see here, this thing looks absolutely insane. If you couldn't tell, this is the rod from Terraria. It's the Rod of the Zenith, I believe it's called, or the Zenith. I can't remember the exact name of it. It's been a minute since I played Terraria, okay? Please correct me. But it's called something Zenith. I remember that. And if you quickly cast with this thing, you will instantly be reminded of it. As you can see around the progress bar, there's a ton of other rods just floating around, and it just stabs the fish like crazy. It is actually insane. Like, this thing is actually stupid. Like, just look at how OP it is. The one bad thing though is if you do mess up your perfect catch, so if you somehow manage to mess up your perfect catch, you will then no longer be getting slashes. As you can see there, it kind of dimmed the lights. But however, if you keep it in the perfect catch, it will continue to slice it until you basically catch it. It doesn't stop ever. It just gets faster and faster. So this is why I had to put this as the top tier rod for this list. But there is one rod that I would recommend over this one. I can't say over, but mainly for the stats that this thing gives on its own, because this thing is stupid. And I showed it off earlier, and you guessed it, it's Lullaby. Lullaby is the hardest rod to get in the entire game, hands down, no questions asked. I have every rod in the game, and we're not even going to start to talk about that. I'm going to unequip it because I don't know if the song is copyrighted, but I'm going to explain what this thing does because it is stupid. Basically, you have a metronome that swings back and forth, left and right, and you have to hit these little notes, click at the perfect times to get these little stat buffs that you get from it. Each of these have their own unique stats, so I'm going to quickly fish with this thing to get all these stats to quickly show them. So give me 1 second. Okay, so there we go. I just got done catching the fish with it, and as you can see, it gives you a mutation, which is rainbow. Not only that, this is for the yellow one, the crown one. This gives you resistant, which is a new buff, which gives you plus 20% resilience and a plus 0.05 control, which is pretty good, honestly. I'm moving on to the next one, so give me 1 second. Okay, I have to explain this one really quickly because we only got 10 seconds, but this one is called the quickening one. It is a brand new one. It gives you plus 20% lure speed and plus 20% progress speed, which is really broken. Moving on to the next one, which is this red one. Again, I have to explain it super fast, but this one is called strengthening, I believe. And this will give you 75,000 max kg, 75 line distance, plus 50% XP, and plus 4 disturbance, which is actually busted. Moving on to this one, I already know what this one does. It gives you luck, I believe, and a chance to duplicate the fish. And higher fish weight. I think it's 10% higher fish weight. I'm not going to show it, but that's what that does. And let me quickly get this prismatic one because this one's stupid. This is the most broken thing in the entire game. There we go. So now we got the prismatic one. And as you can see, this thing gives you too many buffs to even count. You get plus 12% chance for the prismatic mutation. You have a plus 13% chance for the mythical mutation. You have a 10% lure speed, a plus 10% lure speed, plus 20% luck, a plus 0.025 control, 0.025 control, 10% resilience, 25,000 max kg, plus 10% progress speed, plus 25% line distance, plus 5% fish weight, which all these things can stack, by the way, from all the other buffs onto this one. And it will give you this buff even if you don't have the rod. All you have to do is be next to someone who's using it. It gives you 25% XP, plus 3% shiny and sparkling chance, and plus 2 disturbance. And like I said, this thing is absolutely insane, but it is the hardest thing to get, and you will need level 500 for this rod, and it is the final rod on the list. So if you guys enjoyed this video, then please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.